During this episode at Disconnection, we'll be speaking to Mikael Kadosh, who will share with us real and relatable stories, covering a range of topics from his unique perspective. So, Mikael Kadosh, how are you? Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello, world.
Welcome.
So, when did you get into music? How old were you when you first found that you had a passion for music?
Always, like, music has always been like a part like of me. Like I've always had an interest for it, but officially like started like creating music when I was like 12 or 13.
Using, middle school.
Super duper music looper.
Whoa.
This little
Is that what you called your band, or
no,
what is that?
no, it's like a literally what it sounds like. It's like a little music program for the computer that lets you loop shit. And,
gotcha.
I can curse, right?
Of course.
Okay, yeah. So that was the first one, and I started making beats, and I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. And then I started like exploring like what would be like the next kind of step, because I recognized that it was nice shit for what I was doing, but it's not like, man, these beats don't sound like other people's beats. So
What kind of stuff were you listening to at that time that you were trying to get to that level? Even though you were still very young,
Yeah, I was, and I had just come. I was like a year after I came from Israel, so hip hop was very influential in a lot of different ways, and I think that's kind of what kind of influenced me into or pushed me into music. That's been like my main topic, basically hip hop, rap, lyricism, but it's been developed and like expanded, exponentially since. So, I guess at the time, I wasn't listening to anybody specifically. Like I wasn't. I was just soaking in whatever was around me at the time, and then 2 years after, or a year and something after, I'd moved to Jersey, where I'd met a lot of you guys, and and the music kind of changed. It went from later it came back to hip hop when I met this motherfucker. But at first it was more like it showed me into like classic rock and like funk and a lot of just like stuff that I wasn't used to directly listening to. So it kind of
opened up your path a little bit when you moved here.
Yeah, definitely throughout high school.
Who was it that introduced you to rap and hip hop initially?
I don't remember anybody specifically. I mean, my dad would always bump different music, and he was a big fan of hip hop. So
okay,
he liked the beats, and
Nice.
so like I don't know, maybe it's some like subconscious thing where I was like, yeah, I like this shit.
These beats,
Something about
yo.
the drums or that, because I didn't know what they were saying, but like something like angry and like something fed me, and I was like, yo, this is dope.
At what point did you switch from, playing around with music and writing lyrics, having that hip hop thing, to focusing more in depth on the production of the beats and the like? Because I know you went to school in Florida.
Yeah, for 2 years, yeah.
For 2 years,
Yeah.
okay. And while you were down there, was your exploration, your creative side in the music more towards lyrics still, more towards writing raps, or was it more towards, because at one point you were producing your own music, right? Okay, so from your time in Florida, were you still deep into writing, or was it more of the production?
I think it's like, at that time I was 18, 19 there, and so it was a very, how do I say it, like, I was exploring a lot of myself and like kind of like different directions of where I wanted to go, and so I would say that it both kind of like stuck together, because I was in school studying engineering and kind of like
Oh wow.
different ways of production and things like that. So I would take that and then go home and be like, okay, that's what I need to put into my whatever I'm working on. But at the same time, it was a very like angry like phase. Like I was like, man, like really into conspiracy
Nice.
theories.
I'm still
like,
into them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, but
Yeah.
like, it was like at the height of like, what? Like, I knew something was wrong, and I started searching and
Right.
finding all these things. I'm like, yeah, finally, like this, yeah, that's what I was thinking, and finally, this dude answered it. Zeitgeist, like all
That was
this
a
different,
crazy
you know,
film, man. Yeah,
all
I've
this
seen
different
that.
shit, and so like, I was taking that, and then that was my main kind of niche in the music, like lyric wise. I was like, man, I need to like do something
Letting out those
meaningful,
secrets sort of stuff.
change, yeah, like
Yeah.
putting like my kind of perspective of things into it and kind of seeing where it goes. And then it kind of like toned down the, you know, stresses of life and like real life, real job, real shit just like
Created
stops
an
you
outlet
from,
for you.
So you found that as a sort of therapy to be able to create music at that time in your life?
Definitely. And it's only developed since then, but also devolved in a way that it's like you get caught in a cycle or different cycles, and what you used to do like every day for fun, what used to be your escape, kind of is like it's not a form of procrastination anymore. It's like what you need to do, so you kind of find other ways to procrastinate. Whereas before, music was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to, you know, I just want to
Right.
do this, and so you gotta like refresh. This kind of like where I'm at now. That's why I did so much renovation the past few years. You haven't heard too much, you know.
So tell me about that. That's very interesting. So you're saying you did renovations to try and refresh your, I guess, your will to be able to continue to create music is kind of how it is. Is there anything else that you kind of do on a daily basis that tries to get you in the zone? You know, whatever you need to be for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, besides substances and different stupid stuff like that, where I'm like, man, let me get away from this mind state and try to like get into this inspirational
Sure.
realm. Trying to instill like habits of treating it like a job, but still in a way that it's inspiring is the most difficult. So
It's an interesting balance. I can
yeah,
imagine.
because I'm not working right now. Like I was traveling for a few months in South America. Then I went to visit family in Israel. Then I kept traveling a bit. I came back. It's been 2 months almost since I've been back, and I haven't been working. You know, I do freelancing little things, but I didn't want to go back into the cycle. And it's a lot harder than I thought to wake up every day and be like, I don't have shit to do. I really don't have anything to worry about tomorrow. Like, why don't I do music all day, every day, you know, type of thing. So it's like a constant battle to try and, because it's a creative form. It's not like I can wake up and just crunch numbers. That way
Right.
I would wake up at 8 and do all my work and be done, you know?
Absolutely.
But some mornings you wake up, I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to, I don't know. I
I
don't
have
feel
it in me
this," you know?
today sometimes.
Would
yeah,
you say
I
that
can
your
imagine.
emotions kind of almost create the bedrock for where your creative side goes? You know, if you're feeling sad one day, maybe your music turns out to be a little sad, or if you're happy, like it's more elated in the production of it. Would
Or
you
maybe
say
it
that?
reflects differently, like he's sad and then he writes angry music instead.
Right,
or
right, right.
something.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's both. Honestly, it's both, and it sucks because I like being sad for that reason.
Yeah, I
And then
feel
I've
you.
talked to a lot of other artistic persons, and they're the same way. Nobody's gonna be like, yeah, I like being sad, you know.
Right,
but I
right.
will tell you, yeah, like I like
When
when
I'm-
when the worst things happen. I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, maybe not at the second, but after that, I'm like
You
the
lost
best
any
shit comes
girlfriends
from that.
recently? Like,
Yeah, like that's
When I
the
have troubles
passion
with
comes.
girls, I'll end up writing some poems about them. Turn out to
Right.
be really good poems.
Right,
But
right,
there was
right.
one time where I was recently happy about something, and so I wrote a poem about it, and I was like, wow, this is really good.
Mm.
And then the event ended, and I was like, oh, like, let me try and write something again. And I wrote down like a couple of passages, and I was like, this sucks. I need to be like in that, you know, hype again.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, up or down.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate in that way that you have to be. It's not just like something you could turn on. Maybe it is, but like you have to really train yourself to be able to do that, to be inspired and be like, I'm gonna make music right now. I want to make this type of thing. Because
Yeah.
it's easy. I mean, I get on the keyboard every day, whatever, try something out. And then maybe 10 minutes into it, I'm like, oh, this is like the same stuff that's been going on. You know, it's like, I don't want to do that. Sometimes you need to like step back or go away, get some different sounds, get this, you know, come back and be like,
You said you were
ready,
traveling the world. Did you feel like you were hearing different types of music, just even being in Israel again, or back in? You said you were just in South America. I
Yeah.
know. Have you been there before? I feel like
That was
your
the first time.
First
Yeah.
trip. Was that with John Rogel right now?
I met up with him throughout. I started alone and then ended up alone, but I was with him for a good month and change. Yeah.
And those experiences, they ended up bringing out any specific songs or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely wrote some stuff while I was out there,
Mhm.
being inspired by the different people and just the energy and just the scenery there is crazy. So yeah, definitely was influenced a lot in Brazil, a lot in Uruguay and in Argentina, and in Costa Rica as well. But for the most part, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it depends where you're going, yeah.
Mhm.
But I was, I tried to go to less touristic places, but even so, like at the bare minimum, you're in a city in Peru and Ecuador and a couple other places. You go to like the regular bar or whatever the thing is on the street, and it's playing the same fucking 20 song playlist,
Yeah.
Despacito and whatever the fuck other songs there are that they were playing in Miami before I left.
Right.
Dude.
So
Oh,
you're
man.
hearing
I'm like,
same
it's the
shit out
same
there.
shit all over
Yeah.
the world. You close your eyes, you don't know where the fuck you are. Dude. Like,
You're
it's
back in Miami.
unfortunate.
You
yeah,
never left.
dude. Yeah, and so it's like I couldn't believe it to that extent how like
Okay.
fucking fucked the world is.
That
from
is
that
fucked, and I
point.
agree with you. And it sucks that we were just in the car on the way here, and I don't even know this name. Some FIFA fucking song came up on 92.3, and Kyle's like, "This is the second time I'm hearing this just during this drive." And I'm
The
like,
old FIFA.
Yeah.
Oh
I
shit!
forgot what the name of the track was.
I
don't
get
know.
knocked down.
Not
Not
that,
that
old.
song, but I love that song.
Yeah, that's-
Chumbawamba's cool with me.
Like FIFA '98.
Yeah, yeah. I think this was like FIFA 07 or something.
Oh, okay.
But
But
where,
still, it's
where I
the
was going
second
with
time
that,
it played.
ridiculous. But where I was going with that is, as an independent artist, where have you found places to share your music with people that aren't, the radio?
Right.
What's good outlets for people to find new music and your music?
It's a given, that the internet is the place, and it's the first.
Like
and
what kind of
foremost place.
platforms on the internet is what I mean.
So SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, those
Right.
the three things. I'm not on Twitter, stupidly. As an artist, just hurts me, but I don't do it. Can't.
Fuck it.
I'm sure I have like some cool tweets or whatever to say, but like I can't like get myself to get in a routine to that. But regardless, YouTube and SoundCloud is probably the most prominent thing. Bandcamp, I have some stuff on too. Instagram as well. If you want to follow me, like personally, like as an artist, Instagram is probably the best place because of the story. I don't like posting stuff that's not high quality. So that's why I rarely post and rarely, do stuff. But the stories I do almost every day, and
Just like
shows-
updates of what's up in
yeah, in
the
the
studio.
studio with the band, different things, da 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 da. So that would be probably the best place. But to share my music, it's hard because you got to find a balance, because the people who I want to listen the people who I want to listen to my music are also a lot of the people that are listening to the radio, and so there's got to be like a balance where I have to not cater to them, but like make it available in the same way that other music is available to them.
Definitely.
And my music is not on the radio, so I have to find different channels,
You have to use all of those outlets.
Yeah.
In order to have an audience.
Yeah, and I have to be consistent, which
Right.
is something I'm working on, because if you're not, it's like pissing in the wind.
Yeah.
I
Right.
like put something out, and then whatever, 4 days later, it's gone. The algorithm in Facebook will never show it to you, even if I know that if you two saw the post that I did, you'd like it or share whatever it
Right.
is, But it's literally not even showing it to you because
Because you haven't reached those like criteria for,
Yeah.
the algorithm does pick it up and it will
Yep.
throw it out.
I remember also you used to hand out a lot of CDs back in the day. Are you still doing that? Like with your last album, were you able to do that?
I do. I'm sitting on like hundreds of CDs, like
A throne of CDs.
just fucking like sitting there catching dust. So they're nice coasters, but yeah, no, I do have like the last CDs,
Right.
and they're nice. And there's just something about physical like things
Totally.
for me that I still like cherish, even though most people would be like, man, I got fucking stuck with this scene. You know, what am I
Yeah.
gonna do with the rest of the night with this?
There's something great about it. First of all, albums that are like awesome, you can get a CD and the cover's really good. You can open up, you can see some cool artwork. There's some interesting bits in the middle. I always like looking at lyrics of certain albums when I'm really into them. So that stuff's always cool if you can, package it with your album later on. My question is, I know you used to play bass. Are you still playing bass? Are you not producing your music for yourself? Like, you're not writing the bass music for your beats?
No, I definitely depends what, because
Like,
I
you
know
said you had a band with you, is why.
yeah. So
where I
I'm not
translated that.
playing bass in a band,
Gotcha.
and in general I'm not playing bass a lot. But when I do produce, a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll write the bass, whether it's MIDI or I'll play
Oh,
my
so
bass.
you'll literally write out the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like on sheet music, but like, yeah, I'll come up with it. And then what I have done a lot of the times is I have like a great bassist that I know. I have a couple, so I'll just send it to them. Excuse me.
You're good.
They'll come out to the studio and re-record it, and then I'll sit there and butcher it and be like, oh, can you do like doom da doom 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 instead? And they'll do that, and then we just go back and forth, and I chop it up and do it. But I like to think of it, if somebody else that I know can do something better for me, like within, like my steez, then why wouldn't I
Absolutely.
try to outsource it,
Yeah. You want the best possible quality, the best production, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's like, if you heard the song and you're like, man, that's banging. I love that bass. I rather you say that than you just be like, oh, who played it? I'm like, I played the bass. Like, I did everything.
Right.
So I remember that a couple of years ago, you had your computer. You wrote it on Facebook that your computer had crashed or died.
Yeah,
or
my hard drive.
your hard drive fell apart, and you lost tons of music.
Yeah.
There was a year or so, or maybe more, where you didn't release anything because you were building something, you were creating something, and then it was lost, right?
It was, but was found later.
It was found again.
Well, it wasn't. Yeah, it was found and sent back to me. So it was in Miami. I went down for the weekend around that time, like however long ago that was, and I went to the studio, and my friend's up there, and so we chilled. We were making some music, and then I left. And I realized I didn't have my drive. The first thing I called was my friend over there, and I was like, "Yo, check the studio." And he checked, and he did this and that, and he called. He's like, "Nah, I don't see it." So I went, to the second thought where I'm like, "Oh man, it's either in the cab or I lost it here, and I couldn't find it, like at all. And then a week has passed, and I was like, "Okay, I've come to realize that that's it. I don't have it."
Yeah,
So I
it's gone.
posted it up. I was like, "R.I.P. my drive," some shit. And I came to senses that I lost all the shit that was on there, which was so much.
Whoa, what was
And,
that, like an upcoming album, a bunch of beats you had written out?
Yeah, both. The album that I still didn't release, but is just like basically complete now, and then it had the 2 instrumental albums that I'd put out, the Beats in Blue, Beats in Red, and then just a whole bunch of songs that I just have had for years.
Yeah,
So I
damn.
was just like, fuck. And then so I posted it, and then this motherfucker out of nowhere, the other kid that's in the studio, the same studio in Miami, just messages me and is like, "Is it a WD like black drive?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what the fuck?"
Oh,
And this is like a while after. And I was like, "Yeah, send it to me." And I called up my other friend who originally was like, "Oh, he's not here." And I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with him?" And
ain't you got eyes, dumbass?
yeah, he didn't realize that was the one. He thought it was the other dudes and Anyway, but
You're punching yourself in the head at that point.
But
yeah.
you know what? But it was
God.
nice in a way because I by posting it, I was like, I let it go. I was like, that's it. Like, it's over. If it sucks. Like, save your shit. Don't be an idiot like me,
Back it up somewhere
Yeah,
else.
back it up. That was really the issue. And I do back up my stuff more so than before, but I still am an idiot.
Hey guys, we're going to take a quick little break here and give a big thank you to our sponsor, the Blockchain Academy. They let us use their studio and their equipment, and they teach you all about blockchain technology. You can check them out online. They have world-class instructors, and they're going to teach you how to use blockchain. So we just want to say thank you to them again, and let's get back to the show. There's a couple of things that I have written out that I have them backed up on my phone. on my email, on my computer, on a USB stick in my drawer next to the computer in
That's
case someone
good.
comes and literally takes the computer. And nobody's gonna do that, and nobody needs that many backups.
But you should be
paranoid.
organized like that,
Yeah,
man.
but I have backups everywhere, and there's actually a journal that I keep, and I keep that backed up in more places than I think anyone needs to back anything up. Like I have more backups of that than probably the NSA has backups of our phone calls.
It's
Yeah.
very in your character to have
Yeah.
all those backups
Right?
for sure.
Well, it means it's important to you, so that's
and,
good.
And it is, yeah, extremely important. And I wanted to ask you, do you find that when you explore with maybe certain drugs that you create new approaches to music? Like I remember when I first started smoking weed, I became like more introspective in like my writing, and not just poem writing, but also in like keeping a journal. Like I would analyze a lot more stuff when I was by myself at home. Do you think that drugs and different types of drugs have influenced your music?
Yeah, definitely has helped, or hasn't helped, but yeah, definitely it influenced me to think of music in different ways and approach music in different ways, especially psychedelics. Weed is like the one that started it. You know, like I remember
It's a nice baseline.
it's
It makes everything
yeah,
better.
it's a foundation,
really
you
is.
know. And it's like I remember back even in like early high school and just like starting to smoke bud, and then going to this dude's house and like putting music on, and like I didn't know at the time, but like hitting it and like feeling like what I would now like on acid or like a psychedelic, you know, just closing my eyes and being like, yo, this is nuts. Music is insane, you know, and just boom, and it just shot off.
Dude,
you know?
I remember those days of like my first time smoking pot, hearing certain songs, and you're like, dude, I didn't know music could be this
Yeah,
good. You know,
yeah,
you get into
man.
this whole other realm.
Yeah.
It made
insane.
it. Oh my god.
You don't even sometimes have to understand like the language of the music that you're listening to. It could be in like Spanish and you don't know how to speak Spanish, or it could be
Yeah,
in
you
like
just
Indian.
get hype on something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a universal language where
It
it's just
really
like
is.
the rhythm, the flow of whatever it is.
Totally.
Yeah. You hop right into it. You're like, whoa, there's no cultural boundaries anymore. It takes it away.
It's just how it makes you feel. Yeah.
Totally, but I could say this to you because I've just experimented with a few drugs, and like I've tried acid before, and I went to play guitar on acid, and playing guitar on acid, or I've tried a few other things, but like specifically on acid, it's not like I'm not good at guitar, you know, like I can play guitar, and I didn't do anything out of this fucking world when I was playing on acid. I listened back. But what it was is I was definitely playing differently than I'm usually playing. Like it was exactly how you said. I approached it a little differently, like either slower or just different use of notes, or just how what I wanted to play over certain styles started coming out differently. Do you feel that you've had that experience as well?
100%, yeah.
It's an interesting thing.
It's
right?
amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
And especially, I mean, I've had different trips where, like, I intended to make music while taking this, you know,
Interesting.
like, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do some acid tonight and create something cool.
Interesting.
I'm with a friend, and we're like, yo, let's do this, you know. And some nights, like, my friend and I made like a whole like beat album called Acid Reflux.
Cool.
We
a
put it
great
out
name.
like 4 years ago, and like two of the beats I'm like I really like, and the other ones I'm like, what the fuck, dude? We were tripping so hard.
Lord.
But even at the time, like I remember like just fucking with like the filters, and you know, it's something the most basic the DJ at every fucking bar tonight is doing, you know, just filtering it out. But I remember just appreciating that so much, and be like, yo, dude, it's like
That's the
it's-
thing you appreciate.
you know?
That is the
Yeah.
word exactly. You're like feeling it, and if you find your little niche, you're like, why does this all of a sudden sound so good? You want
Yeah.
to build around that thing.
Exactly.
It's very cool.
And it, just like you played less notes, like
Dude, that is a huge thing. Much,
Yeah.
a lot less.
yeah, man, because every note like means something more,
Mm-hmm.
and you're breaking down. At least for me, it breaks down like a lot of the insecurities
Mm-hmm.
that I'm not conscious of so much, but that go in effect when I'm starting to write or when I start to produce. Where I'm like, oh no, you can't have that sound,
Mm-hmm.
or like, oh, that sounds cheesy, or what's that chord? You know, all that shit. It's just like, whatever. Oh man, like whatever sound that is, you know, like, and yeah, it's amazing. I would definitely, if you're in the right state of mind and in a good place, like physically, like around you, or with people you love or trust, it's definitely something I would recommend experimenting with.
Absolutely.
Around music,
completely-
nature or music.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. It's something that I think everyone should experience. And, not everyone is ready to take that step towards, oh, I'm not in the right state of mind, or I'm not in a good part of my life, so there's no way I could take a drug right now. It's like, okay, well, maybe the reason why you don't feel you're in that right place is because you're too self-involved and you're getting lost in the complication you're creating. And in reality, like, life can be very simple, and we make it more complicated sometimes than it needs to be. And I think that's an important thing to remember when you tell people, like, hey, it's not a bad idea if someone just, goes on a trip. Like, maybe our politicians should go on a trip. But besides the point, maybe they'll lose some of that ego that they have.
Hell yeah.
But
yeah.
So I wanted to know, while in the music industry, what do you feel is the most valuable thing that you've gained out of it, learning about yourself? You're diving into your passion, right? And you're creating. You're a creator in a sense, and you're building upon what you're passionate for. What is the biggest value that you feel you've gained from that?
The value that like I learned from, or the value that I have
Learned that you
Okay.
have, that you continue to strive for?
I think a lot of the passion that I used to have, that I feel like died out with what I was talking about earlier, when you're like in a job and or doing the same things over and over, or forcing music, or you're coming into the same corners. I'm like, man, I'm using the same words literally in verses, or I'm using the same sounds, or it's the same process every time. Whatever it is that's getting you down about the music, I think it's the most valuable thing that I learned that from other great musicians and other successful people, is how to inspire yourself. Kind of going back to what I was saying even earlier, where you could train yourself, like, man, I'm tired, I'm coming home from work, I'm not gonna play guitar, make music, whatever I know feels good, like I know makes me feel good, but I'm not allowing myself to do it. So the value in self-inspiration, whether that means that you're uninspired because you're doing the same thing, so when you get home, instead of going down and sitting down and turning the computer or the TV on and then feeling bad that you're not playing guitar instead, go outside for a walk, go, change your, whatever it is, like keep changing it
Your
just
mental
to
state.
inspire yourself.
Yeah.
You're basically treating it like you're tricking yourself until you learn to, fucking, like, you love to do it. So why wouldn't you give yourself that,
Right.
But everybody denies themselves shit,
Yeah.
Because
we think that it'll feel good, but I'll do it later. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
And it's a habit. You create bad habits.
Exactly.
Bad habits are the hardest thing to get out of, because you don't even know it's a bad habit. It's just a thing that you do.
Exactly.
You're not aware of it.
And you wake up years later, like, it's fucking scary. Like,
Yeah.
My dad used to tell me this all the time. It's the biggest cliche. He's like, oh, time goes fast. You wake up, it's nothing. Da da da. I'm like, yeah, okay. I know it goes fast, but it became like that's why partly why I left, because I woke up and I was like, dude, it's been 3 years and I haven't done anything that I feel like is accomplished. Like, I didn't accomplish anything in the past 3 years.
Right.
No fulfillment in music or in my passion. And yeah, okay, I was making some money. I've been here, been there. Like, I didn't have a bad life. It's not like I was sad, I was like suffering, so to say, but I wasn't happy, I'm still not happy. I'm trying to get to that inspiration, to get to that
What's
point,
the ideal next step right now? Do you send your old music to record labels? Like, how are you trying to become the best you that you could possibly be at this point?
So that's a good saying, because that's what I need to do first before, because I'm glad I didn't push myself to the 1,000% that I know I could 3-4 years ago with the music, while I was very, I had a buzz, I had a lot of people kind of following me, and it felt good and I felt motivated, and I was doing things,
you put out that
shows.
music video, people were hot on.
Yeah, a lot of different things. But I'm glad, because in a way I knew I was insecure for a reason. I was like, this is cool for whatever, couple reasons, but I'm not. This is not me. This is not 1,000% my soul and what I want to put out into the world. And so I need to be the best me that I can be first. And the way that I want to approach it now is not just going in as like a rapper, so to say. I want to be treated as like a musician. So
I like that.
when I go into producing this next thing, yeah, of course I'm rapping, I'm writing different melodies, I'm having different people come in and on it, a lot more live, organic stuff. With the band is really what I want to get to. So it's not just me, it's like this group, this
Something
group of
bigger than
musicians.
just you.
Yeah, it's an experience when you come hear it live or
Cool.
hear it in yourself.
Are you guys
So-
still going to go under your name as the
No.
lead name? What are you guys going to
No,
call
so,
yourselves? Or you
well,
still
first, I
working on it?
killed Mikael Kadosh.
Okay.
So that one,
Kill the boy, become the man.
yeah. And because I felt like I pushed myself into like a lane where
Okay.
it was nice, but it was very kind of closed. Like I couldn't, like you couldn't see that image or that person doing something over that kind of production, which I don't like because I want to do whatever the hell I want to do, you know?
Mhm.
Right.
And so I became Misha, my friend Misha, which is the new alias, which is a lot more fluid and a lot more open and can,
Is it
can do a lot
Misha
of-
or my friend Misha?
My friend Misha.
Cool. I like
but,
that.
But
Yeah,
you could
it
say
is cool.
Misha, you know, like for sure. But when you say like who did that? Oh, my friend Misha.
My friend
you know,
Misha.
Nice.
like,
He's your friend?
yeah.
Well,
exactly.
yeah, he is now.
Hopefully it sticks. I like it a lot more, and we're currently trying to come up with a name for the band.
Cool. And you guys are
and,
going to be a fusion of types of music?
Yeah, definitely hip hop influenced,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of soulful, like jazzy R&B
I love
melody, singing, and,
Yeah,
and
awesome.
funky like instrumental grooves. Everybody in the band is like insane musicians.
Yeah, all Steely Dan fans.
Everybody, everybody's, everybody's really good. Yeah, shout out to Steely Dan.
So who else is in the band?
It's my friend Tetro, Matt Tetro.
Right. He's a drummer, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Remember
really
that
cool guy. Another friend of his, Nick, who's from Miami, insane keyboard player,
Mm.
and Mike Merida
Oh, cool.
is on bass.
Great
yeah,
bass player.
hell yeah, really really funky, and
Precious.
this other dude Shunta on guitar.
Okay, Shunta.
Really really jazzy, fucking awesome.
That's a fun mix of people right there.
Yeah, man.
That's
yeah,
cool.
Everybody's groovy, and we'll have horns on it. We'll have
fun.
other vocals, female vocals, male vocals.
And those are going to be
because-
things that you produce beforehand and then throw in there, or are you actually going to have some people that you know, some extra friends, occasionally like, oh, this is going to be a horn night. Like, why don't you come in and you know someone that plays the horn?
Yeah, so it'll be a mix of things because most of the production that we do now, most of the songs that we've been working on are based on my production, but we're also doing like a bunch of tracks based on the keyboardist progression. I chopped it up, made a beat out of it, brought
Cool.
it back, presented it, like let's learn that live, you know? And all of them really need horns, you know? Like I would love to get horns on everything.
Horns are great.
Yeah,
There
dude.
they are.
Horns are great.
Hell yeah. For all the horny souls, get some horns, man.
What about a clarinet or a flute? I've been listening to a lot of jazz recently,
Mm.
like classical music in general on Spotify. And I just listen to it when I read, when I'm doing homework or walking around the city.
Mm.
And, you know, there's this like a clarinet jazz station on Spotify. Where I'm like, wow, some of this is really cool.
Yeah. No, that would be dope. Ideally, I would want like a horn section, backup singer section, and one main vocalist, and then me. Of course, I would want a lot of other things like
Mhm.
flute could be cool, but just it kind of takes over for me. Like flute is like a hog. It's like
Yeah.
a
A
show
little bit,
hog.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it can't be used like kind of like as like kind of in the back.
Little
It's very
sparingly.
snobby, you know, and like I need to be the front. Yeah. So I don't know about flute, but like saxophone and you know
cool.
different things that definitely will come to the front, but
Mm-hmm.
like in a sexy, smooth way, and then fall out and be able to do their thing. You know, But yeah, just developing more. So right now we're like, I didn't want to bring too much things at once because I'm also going to be doing chops and different samples live from the computer and with different, kind of synths. But I don't want to bring too many elements at once. I want us to be tight as a group, then develop.
And grow from there.
Yeah.
And just to take it back a little bit, I know you said you were an engineering major, and how would you say your production journey has been from Miami till today? I know you just redid your studio in New York, right? And in Miami, I think I remember hearing you used to record in like a shower room or something like that.
In the closet, yeah.
In the closet,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. It definitely has developed immensely, but still to this day, like I'll listen to some productions from, when I was 18, 17, 19, and I'll be like, man, this shit bangs. This is hard. And like, I'm like, I've lost a lot of the different, I used to make things before I knew a lot of music theory and before I was like, I recognized that things distort and don't sound good. I used to just make things because they sound good,
Right.
Even just chords or drum, whatever it is. I'm like, this just,
More
sounds
feeling
good.
it instead of like deconstructing it.
Exactly. And
cool.
even tying it back to the psychedelics, I think they help drop the things that
Those
I've
preconceived-
learned.
Yeah.
The preconceived notions that I have of how I should build a beat,
It's almost like you've stepped into flow. So flow is like a state of like you are able to take all of the knowledge that you know about a specific thing. So you have all of that, music theory, like when things distort and how it changes the rhythm and the music in general. And you drop it from an analytical point and you just know it and you just apply it where you think it should, where it feels out.
Yeah.
What I thought was really interesting was you said it drops your insecurities when you play, and that is something I totally can relate with. Like, I'm overthinking what you're playing is the biggest problem. Not thinking is like can be the ultimate key sometimes.
Exactly.
You're just like finding your great flows there. And yeah, I wish that was a state of mind that was easier to find without the use of.
So that's the inspirational thing that I had a teacher in college that said something like that, where he was like, he would wake up at 5 a.m. or 4:45, whatever it is, every morning because he had that hour. That was the only hour where he felt like to himself. He called it like the golden hour. He would wake up and write. You'd say that's when he was most inspired.
Wow.
That's when he had the quiet, whatever it was for him. And every day he would do that. And then we started talking about inspiration, and he was like, he was talking to like our kind of generation. He was a very like real like teacher. Like I really liked him because he would just say shit just cold-hearted. He's like, you guys are fucking idiots. Your generation is a bunch of pussies. Like
Just a blunt ass dude.
Yeah. And he's like, you guys think you need to smoke and drink this much to write a fucking song? Get the fuck out of here. I'm inspired instantly.
Whoa.
And I was like, dude,
Damn.
and till this day, like I was like, I remember his face when he said it. I was like, fuck, man, that's amazing. Like
That's hardcore,
It's
man.
like
It's a real
instantly
dude.
I inspire myself, and I'm like, yo, that's how many times I'm like, I'm not feeling it. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, slap yourself in the face, you know. And then you start forcing it or whatever, and then it's not, it's like a vicious cycle. But anyway, it's just in my mind, stuck for so long.
Instantly inspired. Sounds like he was passionate.
He's a writer,
much,
he's a
yeah.
musician. He's just learned. He's like, you train yourself to be able to inspire yourself.
Yeah, hop into that passion. It's a difficult thing to do.
Hell yeah. It's a difficult thing to keep pursuing because it's so creative, and it's like it's not like if I knew that I had to wake up every day and draw coffee cups on this sleeve and that's all I had to do, not even draw, just stamp it,
Yeah.
And that's all I had to do for hours every day. I'd wake up and do this. It's fine. Even if I'm feeling depressed and down and one day I want to just break the fucking stamp or whatever, I can still get it done and do it, The difference between something creative, even painting or photography, it could be easily relatable, is that if you can't just get it out. You can, and it's not going to be what you kind of good enough for that threshold.
Right.
So you have to like find different ways to get it out of you the way that it needs to come out. It's not just sitting there and stamping, and it doesn't matter how you feel,
So you were talking earlier about how to get that out of you, that creative side, that you'd go on walks or something, what are like the 3 things that you do in order to generate that creativity?
Definitely get out right away, because
Out of wherever you are?
wherever the fuck you are. Yeah.
Okay.
Because especially for me, because I'm a studio rat, and right now I'm living in the studio as the room as well.
Wow.
So yeah, to some expenses.
Sure.
So sometimes I feel like, like everything is just, like coming on top of me, and the walls are closing in, and I'm smoked out, and I'm just sitting there smoking. The whole place
shit.
is just smoking. I'm clouded, So I just get the fuck out of there. Like, I don't care. And then as soon as I'm like, all right, we should go, I'm like, oh, but what are you going to do outside? Like, what do you really want to do? And it's like trying to make me stay and feel like shit,
Trying
It's
to get out of
fucking
here,
crazy.
man. Come on.
And so just get the fuck out wherever you are, number one.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Number two is do something that you wouldn't necessarily do. Like, force yourself to do it. It doesn't have to be for a while. It doesn't have to, So, like, yeah, if you get out, of course you're going to go on the roof or go for a walk or just go, like, chill out, stretch for a second, come back. But you would never go to this cafe and just sit there and not just go in and get a coffee. Sit there and just fucking think, like enjoy the coffee, like alone outside of the place where like different things where
Place yourself into a different spatial environment.
yeah, and into a different mind state, like force yourself to go out the house without the phone,
Ooh.
and
okay.
then because everywhere you could be the same shit. You're like,
Right.
I'm on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Right.
everywhere.
It doesn't
great
matter
one.
what cafe you're in, what park you're at.
Right.
You pull out your phone and boom, you're back in that world.
Yeah. And why I'm saying to do that is just so if it creates a different path for the thoughts to flow. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, shit, I remember I needed to make that doctor appointment. I forgot to call this person. Everything, it's just like when you put your head to go to sleep and everything just, you need to do this.
Totally, though.
Fucks you up.
Dude, I know that, man. You get that second of, like, calm, and all of a sudden your thoughts settle into your brain again. And you start remembering all that shit you forgot to do all
Yeah.
day. Holy hell, yeah. Been through that plenty of times, dude, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And the third thing?
Diet. I think diet. I feel so much different when I wake up and I don't just smoke right away, and I drink more water, or like I eat something different than I normally would, or eat something lighter. I'm not gonna. You eat whatever the fuck you want, but do some research about your body and see what you don't go by the food pyramid.
Right.
Do what feels right for you. So, ever since changing certain aspects, you really start feeling much better. and
Definitely.
start
I would say
thinking better.
diet's incredibly important, especially
Yeah.
for energy and stuff. Like, I know it well. I eat like shit. So, I
Right.
wake up feeling like crap, and
Yeah.
it's not conducive to a productive day.
Hell yeah.
So,
And
I
even worse
100%
is
agree.
the things that we think are like good, or like you've been in your mind, you're like, man, I've been eating this my whole life, or
Yeah, it must
my
be
mom
fine.
used to say that's
Yeah,
good. I'm gonna eat this shit,
Right.
And it's like it might be good or might not, but it might not fit your body, and your body is not reacting well to it. Like I have a friend who's sick all the time, like in the bathroom all the fucking time, like, and it's just because of the shit that he eats, and he doesn't want to let go of certain things that he eats.
You
You
gotta
know?
grow up sometimes.
So
right?
yeah, you have to change. You
Tell
have
your
to
friends.
change something. Yeah, diet and exercise if you feel up to it. Exercise,
So you said you
definitely.
recently changed up your diet. What did you change from towards?
Well, I'm constantly changing because every now and then I'm a piece of shit for sure. I want
know
my
it.
Popeyes. I want something disgusting, like on purpose. I'm
Dude,
that
I
bad.
know the feeling, man.
You know?
You're just looking to fuck yourself up with
Yeah.
crazy food. I know.
Like I have spinach. I have some other good shit. You know what I'm saying? At home, no. I want the nastiness in my stomach. But no, like daily routines, like waking up and drinking tea instead of coffee. Great example.
Excellent. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like cutting out I'm not gonna say cutting out meat for everyone because it doesn't work for whatever it is for your body. You need to start researching your body more. Like I know what does.
You don't eat meat?
No, I eat meat, but way less than what I used to. I eat a
Okay.
lot more fish than red meat.
Get
I
those
eat a lot
omegas.
less chicken than I used to. Ideally, I want to not eat any meat, but it's also very difficult,
It's tough.
especially if you're not on it,
Mm-hmm.
cooking for yourself every day.
Steak is delicious, man.
Steak is
I
delicious.
love
Yeah.
steak. Yeah.
Oh,
Having
yeah.
it once every, 2 weeks or so, like I can do that.
Definitely.
But like if there's like ground beef, you're like, oh wait, shit, is this beef or is it like that meat again, just ground up? Like what am I actually eating?
And you're eating a burger, you're not even thinking
You're not.
that it's
Oh
a,
yeah, I'm eating like
yeah.
a piece of like meat. Like yeah, it's the red meat
Yeah,
again.
I want to really just change the perception for me that a meal needs a protein, like a live something to make it a meal, you know? Because every time in my head where I'm like planning something out, I'm like, yeah, but what, just toast and cucumber? Like what the fuck are you, a rabbit? You know, like I need something, you know?
What are you, a rabbit?
I was vegetarian for like 3 months. At some point, my dad thought I was gay.
Whoa, that's pretty crazy.
Wasn't understanding the lack of red meat, huh?
My
Oh
dad
my
would probably
gosh.
say the same thing. He loves meat. He loves potatoes. Grew up in Utah. He's a Western guy.
Holy.
He has like carbs. Like when you break down what you're eating, that's the way I think about my food. Is I'm not eating a vegetable, or I'm not eating broccoli. I'm not eating like spinach. I'm eating a green, and I need the vitamins from the green. I'm not eating toast. It's a carb, and carbs will give me energy for the day.
Right.
So I try and eat more carbs in the morning and the afternoon. But rethinking the way that you're eating allows you to take a different approach towards
Definitely.
your diet as a whole.
Hell yeah.
I'm
And
happy
also-
that you said diet as one
Yeah.
of the things.
Hell yeah. And I've been getting into this dude, Dr. Sebi. He's
Okay.
a really good like herbalist. This dude from Honduras, and he's talking about eating electric foods. He has a whole different like.
What do you mean
guys
electric
should
foods?
check it out. Basically, eating food for their nutritional value, kind of what you're saying, but more so for their compound. Their like you eat spinach for iron.
Right.
You know, you eat this for potassium, whatever it is.
So kind of how he was just breaking it down, sort of.
Yeah,
You
but
need the
he's-
vitamins.
He's got this whole other agenda or this whole other thought process where those things matter and they're important, but it's more about acidic versus alkaline. Like if you're
Cool.
eating spinach, that's a lot of iron, but it's a lot of acid. So it's kind of like, is it worth the iron for that acid?
So you
He
want
says no.
Like
He
a
says
balance.
yeah, he said you rather, drink a cup of water with a moringa powder and have like
Cool.
50 times more iron in one day. But anyway, like doing things like that, like supplying your brain with what it needs, more so not thinking about your body needing protein, but what your body needs chemically,
Yeah.
electrically, like
Yeah, electrically.
electronically.
Right, 'cause we're
which is
machines.
Yeah,
That's
We're,
right.
we're meat bags on, skeletons,
Hell yeah.
technically.
And
You know,
yeah,
dropping the
it's important.
consciousness aspect of human life
Yeah, just that.
makes me sound nihilistic.
A little bit. So let's bring it back to Mika Villain and
Misha.
No, I was getting
Oh,
there.
okay, okay.
I was gonna say. So now that you're my friend Misha, can we know where my friend Misha is going from? What upcoming projects you guys have? Are you guys doing any shows in the future?
Yeah, got an EP
What-
dropping soon. What's up?
What's the plan?
Definitely. Definitely have like a lot of things going on with the band. We're planning a show hopefully by the end of this month where before I'll be going away, I'm going to Cali for a bit to work and then I'll be back in December. So definitely want to perform with them. And as for Misha, like I have a lot of production that's near completion and is gonna be coming out, whether it's in the form of an EP or in singles, or I'm really looking for visuals first. So
Okay.
I have an idea. I want to drop something like a kind of like a visual kind of journey, like a 5-track, story or video that kind of goes with each other, but is separate.
Like a concept sort of album?
Yeah,
Almost.
I almost want to say that. Yeah, but
Sounds cool. I mean,
yeah.
that would
So
be awesome.
it's almost done, and then I have some personal other projects too. And then the real thing that I'm excited for is the band to record everything
yeah.
that we've been doing live and fully put out like a live EP under the band name.
I'm excited to hear all you guys together.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
that
too.
group
They're-
of people. That's great.
That's the thing that I'm most excited about. It's the most organic and like the highest level that I can see myself reaching within within like myself, because it's different I like producing. I like creating songs and writing songs from scratch and building something and making something beautiful, whether it's for me or for another artist or whatever. That's a whole other set thing, you know, when you're performing and when you're working with musicians and actually making music from thin air and not, you know, by yourself in the studio. It's a whole different concept, and it's like it's bringing me back to why I loved music, you know.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then to younger, you know, fans and people who like hip hop and rap and all types of music, what would you say to them if they're just starting out and want to get into this industry, want to become a lyricist, want to become a rapper, want to produce music?
What would I say to them? I don't want to sound too cliche, but turn off, if you're gonna produce, then turn off your Wi-Fi and turn your phone off, and bang your head against the wall 3 times, and then or jerk off twice, and then produce, because otherwise, you know, it's so easy to get pulled into what everybody else is doing, and I want to sound like this, I want to sound like that, and it's so easy to find out everything that you want to about production and engineer. You don't need to go to school. You don't need to pay money. You don't need to do anything. Like, I could wipe my ass with the degree I have, you know, and still not have enough paper to finish. Like, it's not worth anything. So don't go to school for it. That's what I will say. Just follow your passion and do what the music that makes you feel good, and do it for yourself first, and other people will flock to it. That's for sure, if you're true to you.
Do it for yourself first. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love that thought.
Yeah, man.
It's an idea that escapes a lot of artists. I mean, you just said it, you know, you're creating, sometimes you get lost in that creation for other people. But then you're not creating because you want to create, then you're creating for your ego, right? And you get lost in, I want people to like what I'm making because I've made it for them. And if they don't like it, I'm no good. Well, it's not that you're no good. It's that you created it for the wrong reasons.
Your intention, yeah.
The intention behind the creation was wrong.
Yeah. But then, I don't know if I completely agree with you, but if you hear like a song on the radio now, what's that fucking Mask, whatever, Future song.
Mask Off.
Yeah. I'm sure whoever made that beat was like, I want people to fucking bounce. You know, that was his intention, you know? I just don't want that. That's not my intention when I make music. So when I say to other people, like, you know, do your passion. If you want to make bangers for other people to bounce to, and that's what makes you, then do your thing. For me, music is way deeper than that, and way more important, and could be way more influential. So I'm not gonna squander my kind of like voice on making your dumbass fucking, you know, dance for 3 minutes at some dumb club.
Totally. No need to sell yourself out.
Yeah.
And if you've got the juices in you, you know, and the spirit, the will, make what you can make. Have fun doing it, right?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I wish my songs would bump, like in the, in the places. Don't get me wrong.
Fuck yeah.
But I'm not making them for that, you know.
Yeah.
Find a balance. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, that was an awesome interview, Mai.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
guys.
much. Thank
Yeah.
you for coming.
Thank you. I enjoyed that a lot. Yeah.
Happy you liked it, man.
Yeah.
If
dude,
you
guys have
want
a
to
good
pump
thing.
out a plug where anyone can reach you, I know you said earlier, but if you could just say it again for yourself or your band, whatever you want.
Right now, if you guys have any good band names, just message me at my friend Misha on Instagram, or MF Misha. That's MFMEESHA. Search that on SoundCloud. And yeah.
I just realized MF Misha is also motherfucking Misha.
Ah, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very tight. Thank you, Mai.
Thank you, guys.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us for another episode on the Disconnection Podcast, where we aim to inform, inspire, and close the disconnections in your life. We'd like to thank our guest for joining us today, Mikael Kadosh, for delivering a unique perspective on a range of topics. Please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast on iTunes and YouTube. My name is Kyle.
And I've been Ben.
And we'll catch you on the next episode of Disconnection.